In the 1940s, African Americans were not accepted into the military, especially pilots and aviators. It wasn't until the Tuskegee Airmen were given a chance to prove they were just as worthy as whites. One local resident was part of that group. SNN Local News 6 reporter Jim Spiewak sat down with him earlier today and joins me with more. Jim?
Well, John, retired Lieutenant Colonel Clayton Lawrence spent 33 years in the armed forces, and according to him, none greater than his first few as a member of the original Tuskegee Airmen.
It's got German markings.
Let's get him!
The experimental program known as the Tuskegee Airmen was set up during World War II to train African American military pilots and aviators. Lieutenant Colonel Clayton Lawrence was a documented original Tuskegee Airman serving from 1943 to 1945.
It was always a challenge, and the challenge was that we were not supposed to succeed.
Born and raised in Brooklyn, Lawrence wanted to be a pilot, so he did the only thing he could to achieve that. Went to Biloxi, Mississippi in 1943, which had the only facility in the country available to him. Up to that time, African American pilots were not allowed in the armed forces. Lawrence says the racial divide in the South is something he'll never forget.
It was two worlds. It was a black world and a white world.
The airmen lived by a motto that helped them cope with the segregation that was prominent throughout the South.
Double V for victory. One was victory over the Nazis and victory over segregation at home.
According to the history books, during the 1,500-plus missions, the group destroyed over 260 aircraft, shot down the first Nazi jet, and sunk a destroyer.
Mayday! Mayday! Prepare to bail out!
When thinking back of the accomplishments of the Tuskegee Airmen, Lawrence shakes his head with a big smile.
We proved that we were as good as anybody else or better.
At the request of President Obama, Lawrence will fly to Washington on Friday to attend a private screening at the White House of the new movie Red Tails. With his oldest daughter escorting him, Lawrence can't wait to get there.
A lot of the things in the movie really strike home.
At 88 years old, there's not much Clayton Lawrence hasn't seen or done, but says he wants to be remembered as having a part in breaking the mold that color is no longer an issue in the United States military. This is actually the third time Lawrence has been invited to the White House, and I asked him how many Tuskegee Airmen are left, and he says he gets that asked all the time, and he's not quite sure. But John, this is a true piece of American history right here in our backyard.
And it's such a wonderful story. I'm anxious to see Red Tails myself.
Yes.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, thanks.